What up everyone, it's your boy X-Man87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Stilt-Man Build-A-Figure Wave Overview/Review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's get it! We're going to kick things off with the anchor of this wave, Miles Morales. The head sculpt to this Miles Morales is absolute fire. It's pretty screen accurate if you ask me. I like the hairstyle they gave him, and the texture on the hair is really cool. He's got the plushy cheeks, and he's got this line right here, which I don't know if it's a paint slop or some sort of animated expression. I really like the eyebrows. Overall, this head sculpt is absolute fire, like I said before. Then for the upper torso, you get this two-piece jacket. So you got the blue on the outside and the red hoodie on the inside. This is attached, so it's not removable, but you can pull this apart if you like. And looking at the inside right there, you got the sculpting for the cobwebs. You even get some texture in there as well. Love the paint job for the spider logo, and this has to be like the skinniest torso in Marvel Legends ever. Just a stick torso, but I really like how he has the ball jointed waist right there, and you have the ab crunch at the top right there. So I am really happy with that. But the sculpt of the jacket came out really nice. The arms are a bit bulky. They're on the bulky side right here, but they still look good. For the lower body, he has the shorts, and it's nicely sculpted. Got the back pockets. The shorts end right above the knee. If it was past this kneecap here, he definitely would have had the Chicano shorts. For the rest of the legs, you get the tights underneath the short, and they're very slim. You know, try to capture that animated look. Again, you get the nice sculpting for the cobwebbing. I like that a lot. And then coming right here to the feet is probably my favorite part of the figure, and he's sporting the Jordan mid ones, which are my favorite sneakers ever. If you guys don't know me, besides collecting figures, I love collecting sneakers. You got the tongues right there painted in white, the soles in white. Now for accessories, he comes with an alternate masked head, and this looks really good. Love the big popping eyes, love the white and red paint we get right there. Get that nice sculpting with the cobwebs and some nice texture going along with it. Then he has two sets of interchangeable hands. So you got the two closed-fisted hands right here. And lastly, you got the two thwipping hands. Now to cover articulation with Miles, his head moves that far up, that far down, left, right. It pivots nicely and it rocks around. His arms move that far up, so that's nice. Down, all around. You got the shoulder swivel, elbow swivel, and he has a single elbow joint, sadly. You have the wrist swivel and the wrist hinge. He's got the ab crunch and the lower diaphragm joint, so he could bend that far forward and bend that far back, so that's impressive. Swivel at the waist, it pivots and it rocks around. Legs move that far apart, they move that far up and that far back. You got the swivel above the knee, double jointed knees, and they're pinless, and he does not have heel to the butt, but so close. His ankles move pretty decent upwards, and it moves that far down, and he has that all around ankle pivot. Now for some comparisons, here is our Spider-Verse Miles Morales next to our comic book Miles Morales, and then we have the first Spider-Verse Miles Morales. Now let's take a look at Peter B. Parker. Another screen accurate capture right here with the head sculpt. I love it. You get this narrow and angular shaped head. It looks fantastic. The paint is really nice. You get the brown hair, and it's nicely sculpted as well. Look at that all around. You have the 5 o'clock shadow as well. The eyebrow expressions, really cool. And you get some paint for some animation, cell shading. So yeah, that answers my question with the Miles. It's definitely some cell shading for the animation, but it looks really good and I like it. It adds that unique touch from the animation. For the rest of the body, you get this big green olive jacket, and it's nicely sculpted with tons of wrinkles, tons of pockets, gold buttons, the zippers nicely painted in silver. So yeah, it came out really good, and you get the pinless elbows right here, so it looks smooth. On the back of the jacket, you get more seams at the waistline, at the top right there, more wrinkles going down. This just looks fantastic. Underneath the jacket, you get the Spider-Man suit underneath. Nice spider logo sculpted right there. The cobwebs are also sculpted, but they're not painted. And yeah, that is a bummer. I'm really bummed out about that. Then for the lower body, he becomes Captain Sweatpants. It looks freaking awesome. Really like the texture and sculpting we get right there at the waistband. And the pants look really good, you know, nice sculpting, nice wrinkles, seams at the side. They're pinless legs, so that is really nice. And then you get the lower leg portion right here where the calves and ankles meet. But I like the one sneaker on his left foot and then the one boot right here on his right foot. That looks really freaking cool. Now for accessories, he comes with an opened relaxed hand and a cup holding hand with a cup, and this looks really cool. I love this prop. He comes with a pair of 2 close-fisted hands with the Spider-Man gloves on, then a pair of thwipping hands, and then one alternate head with the mask on or half on. That looks really good. As you can see, he's clean shaven this time, no 5 o'clock shadow. I like the expression there. And the sculpt on the mask is just brilliant. I love it. Now to cover articulation with Peter B. Parker, his head moves that far up and it moves that far down, left, right, and some slight tilt. And it kind of rocks around as well. He's got the arms that move that far up. That's good. Down, all around. You got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel. You got the double jointed elbows, and look how great these things are. Wow, they cut in real deep. Double diaphragm joint moves that far forward and that far back. Not much back because the jacket's definitely going to hinder it. He swivels and then he pivots side to side pretty good, and then it kind of rocks around. His legs move that far apart and he kicks up pretty high. Kicks that far back. And you got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the hobo butt. But you got the calf swivel right there. Ankles move up that far. On the boot, it moves pretty far. So I'd say this one definitely moves up much further up, and then it moves down, and he got the all-around ankle pivot. And for comparisons, here is our Peter B. Parker next to the Spider-Man Retro Series Peter Parker. Next up, we're taking a look at Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen. Taking a look at the head sculpt first, and man, this bothers me. This eye is much lower than this one. Like, what the hell? That looks bad. And they're far apart, too. I don't like that. I do like the haircut, though, even though I'm not allowed to like her haircut. But, yeah, I do like the fade right there. That's cool. The hair sculpt came out really nice. I like the pink eyeshadow. That's pretty cool there. And the mouth there, though, the teeth, they try to capture the little gap that she has in her teeth, and it just came out way too big of a gap. Yeah, I'm not big on this head sculpt at all. And you got the hood piece right here, which is removable when you're ready to swap the alternate head, and I'll show you that in a second. But first, I want to show you that the sculpt on the hood is different. She's on the Marvel Legends teen body mold, but she has a new upper torso sculpt this time. Comparing it to the last one, you can see she went from a B cup to an A cup. You know, you got the design here. Looks nice. The arms are the same. And you can tell inside the arms, they did a much better job. More film accurate colors right here. The lower torso is the same. And the legs are new because we get pinless joints for the teen body. And she does sport new lower legs. As you can see, the ballerina flats are sculpted this time around, not just painted on. For accessories, she comes with this alternate head that has the hood over the mask, and this looks really nice. I do like the sculpt to this. Much better than this one, in my opinion. The print around the eyes, it was just a little too heavy, a little too much. And I like the coloring as well on this. A little more vibrant on this one. This just looks sleeker. She comes with 2 closed-fisted hands and 2 thwipping hands. And lastly, she comes with Spider-Ham, who I guess you could count as an extra figure since it is an extra character. It's just one of those characters they sneak in as accessories. This is all you get. It's basically a staction figure. And for articulation, his head looks that far up and that far down. Left, right, and it does pivot and it rocks around. Now for articulation, her head moves that far up, it moves that far down, left, right. Her arms move that far up, down, all around. You got the shoulder swivel, elbow swivel, single jointed elbows, and then you got the wrist swivel and the wrist hinge. Testing out the new torso, moving forward, it's non-existent. It moves that far back, it swivels, it pivots, and it rocks around. Her legs move that far apart. She kicks up that high and kicks that far back. Her legs rock around. She's got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, but no heel to the butt. And comparing the range against these pinned legs, It's about the same. Calf swivel, ankles move up that far, down, and all around ankle rockers. Now for comparisons, here is our new Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen next to the Spider-Gwen from the Into the Spider-Verse 2-pack, and our comic Spider-Ham next to the movie Spider-Ham. Now to round out the last of the movie figures, we have Prowler. Looking at the Prowler, he comes with this cape, has the 3-point collar at the top of the cape, and then he has this dark, nice purple color on the back. And you got the pointy ends of the cape. I like how the shading is a nice light purple right there. So that looks good. It is removable. If you want to display them without the cape, you could display them like this, but I feel like it looks so empty without the cape. Looking at the head sculpt, it's not too bad. It's not bad at all. Kind of movie accurate. Now for the rest of the body, from the upper thighs and up, he's on the Shatterstar mold. And for the arms, they're the same, but they are retooled for the pinless joints. But the paint looks good for the most part. I love this shade of green we get here, and then the dark purple. So you get that nice two-tone color look right there. The logo came out pretty nice. And then, yeah, just looking at the arms, they look really smooth with that pinless tech. And you got these really big gauntlets right here with some of the pink highlights. And you got some silver. The sculpting details on this is really nice. I really like these hands. I just wish they were close-fisted because there's nothing for him to hold. He doesn't come with any accessories whatsoever. Just these hands. I wish he had like opened clawing type of hands. But really nice details. I mean, look at all these bolts right there. I try to give him the MCU Power Suit Black Panther hands, but yeah, it looks like he has baby hands. The belt piece you see right here is newly sculpted, and there's a look at the back of the figure. Looking at the rest of the legs, these are completely new, and again, we get the pinless tech. So 4 figures in a row now, you see the pinless tech, and I just think it looks amazing on these figures. Nice wrinkle at the bottom of the pants. Nice sculpting details on the boots. You get some more pink down there on the ankles and around the shoe. And yeah, look at that metal laces. And the only bummer about this is that you can't pose his arms straight down. They're always going to be popping off to the side like this. Now comparing our Aaron Davis movie Prowler next to our Hobie Brown comic Prowler, they stand about roughly the same height. I'd say this one's a tad bit taller, but I'm going to do a head and cape swap just to see how it looks. And as you can see, the movie one on the comic looks a little bit silly, but the comic one on the movie one, I gotta say, this looks pretty nice. Yeah, purple spawn is looking pretty dope. Now to cover articulation with Prowler, his head moves that far up and that far down, left, right. His arms move that far up, down, all around. He's got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. Very nice. And you got the wrist swivel and the vertical wrist hinge on both hands. His ab crunch moves that far forward and that far back. You got the waist swivel. Legs move that far apart. That's pretty good. He could do a full split almost. And his legs kick up that far. It kicks that far back. His legs rock around. You got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the Prowler butt. And he's got the calf swivel. Ankles move very far up and very far down. And he has that all around ankle rocker. Now to kick things off for the comic figures, let's take a look at the fabulous Frogman. Now taking a look at Frogman, this guy is one of those lame D-list Spider-Man characters that sadly I do like. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, this figure is really cool looking. Look at this head sculpt, man. It's freaking outrageous. Yeah, I love it. It's a big frog head, and then you see someone underneath there. There is an actual face, and it is awesome. You got the white pupils there, and I really like the sculpt. You can see like a very angry expression there. Oh, it just this is. Oh man, this is crazy. This is gold. I tell you, this is gold. You got the wrinkles right there at the neck, you know. That looks good along with the collar. Now the rest of the body, he is on the Doc Ock body mold, so it is a great reuse for this character. I really like the paint deco. You know, it's got a nice green color to it and nice yellow. And we get like this backpack right here, which ports into the tentacles where you would put on Doc Ock. And yeah, it was a good way to hide those ports, you know. You know, when you bend them over like that, it's gonna appear, but yeah, it's not that bad. And the strap right here is tightly secured in there, so when you move him around with the torso articulation, you're not going to get any hindering or interference, so it just moves smoothly. He's got this frog-like scale pattern painted mostly on his upper torso, the arms, and the upper thighs right there. But yeah, man, I can't lie, this figure looks really cool. And look at the feet, man. He's got those frog-like feet. This is hilarious, and probably the coolest part of this is that he has the, you know, the springs on the bottom of the heels. That is really, really cool. For accessories, he comes with 2 open hands and a pair of 2 closed-fisted hands. Now, to cover articulation, his head moves that far up, and it's pretty tight there, and it moves that far down, left, right, and you do get some pivot, so that's good, and it kind of rocks around as well. His arms move that far up, so that's really good. Down, all around, you got the shoulder swivel, the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel, and a wrist hinge. He's got the diaphragm joint that bends that far forward and that far back. It swivels, it pivots really nice, and it rocks around. His legs move that far apart, which is pretty impressive. And I always, you know, scratched my head as to why they would give Doc Ock originally these legs that are so flexible, and some of the characters that are very agile that need this kind of range on the legs, they don't give it to them. But now it makes sense. For Frogman, you can capture those crazy leaps like a 5-star frog splash, and it just looks really good, even if you want to put them in a frog-like stance kind of pose. Look at this, man. Look at this head on like this with a frog-like stance. It's just wow. Man, I'm impressed by this figure. What a great reuse of this Doc Ock mold. I just can't believe how perfectly it complemented this character. Wow. Continuing on, his legs move that far up, so they kick really high. They kick that far back. His legs rock around. He's got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and heel to the fabulous frog butt. Wow. And then he's got the calf swivel. Ankles move up really far, down, and all around ankle pivot. Now for some comparisons, since Frogman had run-ins with White Rabbit, here he is next to White Rabbit and our classic retro Spider-Man. Next up is our long-awaited upgrade of the Hand Ninja. So this is probably the one you guys are most interested in. There are a lot of questions and concerns since the initial reveal. How does it scale next to other street level Legends figures? How does it compare to the G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra Red Ninjas, Articulated Icon Ninjas, or even the last Hasbro Hand Ninjas? As always, there are pros and cons. I'll address most of that shortly, but first, let's take a look at the accessories. So for accessories, he comes with 2 commas and 2 gripping hands to hold them. And as you can see, the commas are nicely sculpted and nice paint details right there. I like the gunmetal color they have right there for the blade. Next up, he comes with this katana. Again, nice color for the blade. And you got the hilt right there, nicely sculpted. He has this sheath right here, so you could just port that in and it fits in smoothly, and you can put it in one of the gripping hands so he can wield it. Then lastly, he comes with 2 stylized action hands that look like force choking hands. Now if you want to switch it up some more, you can give him the Shang-Chi hand since he comes with a ton of hands, so that's a great display for more options. Now the biggest complaint about this figure seems to be the head sculpt. I see a lot of complaints saying that this head sculpt looks sad, and yeah, I mean, he kind of looks depressed and mad at the same time. So when you angle his head down, he looks even more sad. So yeah, I could definitely see it. And I think it has to do with the eyebrow paint, honestly. It's too straight. They should have like angled it in a little more. As you can see, comparing it to Articulated Icons Ninja, see how the eyebrows are angled in. In some angles, it doesn't look that bad when the hood is covering part of the eye. And I did have a Hasbro Red Ninja until I got the Articulated Icon Ninjas. They replaced those. But I don't remember that ninja looking this sad at all. I like the sculpt on the face mask. You get some wrinkles in there. There's a bit of a gap on the neck area. As you can see, it's like his hood is floating. And that's probably to give it some neck range, you know, so he can move his neck very far up and down without any type of hindering. So I can see that bugging some people as far as this floating hood. The rest of the body looks good in my opinion. You have this more of a traditional ninja look with the gi and the sash. I like how the gi is sculpted too. It's very nice. The arms are the same as the MCU Baron Mordo. So doing a side-by-side comparison there, you can see same arms. So not bad of a reuse there. But I don't like this rope band above the elbow right there. I don't think it looks good. I do like this strap across the chest. That looks really cool with the shurikens there. Painted nicely, and the buckle in the middle, nice texture, and it all leads to the sheath in the back, so it looks good. You got part of the gi and the sash glued onto the side of his hip right here, and you got his crotch piece right here. That's the same as the MCU Baron Mordo, as well as the upper thighs. However, the rest of the legs are totally brand new, so it's not the same as Mortal, and the boots as well is totally different. So the pants look good. The boots are kind of heavy duty, I will say that, and just taking a close look at them, there's a lot of buckles and straps, and then the shoes, man, look at these. Oh my god, these are huge, man. You got these two-tone traditional ninja-like looking shoes, but armored up, man. They look like bigger than the Ninja Turtle toes. I don't know how I feel about that, because when you look at the gauntlet piece, it doesn't look like it flows well with the wristbands right here. I think they should have went with a more Ronin kind of look, you know, for the lower legs. Like, this would have been nice to go with that, but I always thought that they were going to use some of these pieces for hand ninja upgrade, but they didn't. They went with a different look instead, so we might get a more armored hand ninja look down the line. Who knows? Now I want to bring you up close to the articulation. So his head moves that far up, which I think is pretty good. It moves that far down, left, right, and it does have some good head tilt, and it kind of rocks around too. His arms move that far up, sadly. I wish it moved higher. Moves down all around, and he has awesome butterfly joints, so it moves that far back and that far forward, and this makes me happy because this is great for dual sword wielding poses, so I like that a lot. He's got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, not bad, you know, past the 90-degree mark, and you got the wrist swivel and the traditional wrist hinge. The other hand has the vertical hinge. Now for the upper torso, he does have the double diaphragm function, so he's got the upper torso cut and then the lower inverted ab crunch. So moving him forward, he moves that far forward, and moving him back, that far back. You got the upper torso swivel, it pivots really nice, and it rocks around. His legs move that far apart, and for a ninja, this is a fail because he needs to do a full split. He kicks that far up, so not bad at all, and kicks that far back, so you can get the full frontward split. His legs rock around. You got the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and oh, no heel to the hand, but almost so close. You got the calf swivel right here. Ankles move up that far, down, and ankle rockers. Alright, so now I'm going to compare the Hand Ninja against the G.I. Joe Cobra Red Ninja and the Articulated Icons Basic Ninja. This is where it's going to come down to whether or not you're going to invest in these Hand Ninjas. So first, let's start with scaling, and this might bother you right away, as you can see that this Hand Ninja is very tall. And I'm saying that because a lot of collectors like their ninjas to be on the shorter side. So yeah, he's a really tall ninja, and to prove that, let me take this guy out for a bit and put in a NECA Foot Clan soldier, and you guys know that NECA scales 7 inches. He's taller than a NECA figure, man. Like, wow. So yeah, if you know this guy is taller than a NECA figure, you know that there's something off with the scaling right off the bat. Just to bring on my measuring tape here, you can see that he's flirting with 7 inches, if not already at 7 inches. So yeah, that's gonna bother some people. Because when you're flirting with 7 inches, for street level characters like Daredevil, let me just bring him in here. Look at that, man. He's so much bigger. Wow, man. He just towers over him. Like, this guy looks like a super soldier ninja, which the Hand Ninjas are kind of like super soldiers, but with the mystical element to it instead of the science element. So scaling wise, to go with your street level characters, I'm probably gonna side with the Articulated Icon Ninja for this one. And second to it, probably the Cobra Red Ninja. One of these two, I think, scales well with this. However, if you're gonna put them in squatting like ninja poses, then it really doesn't matter because, you know, they'll look shorter. So there is that to play with your photography or your shelf displays. Now, articulation-wise, this Hand Ninja beats the last Hasbro Hand Ninja by a landslide. I mean, the articulation on that one before was just total caca, man. This one's so much superior. And between these three, the Red Ninja has the best head articulation. I mean, that double neck joint, you're not gonna be able to beat that because it has so much range. And this one does pivot well where the Icons doesn't. So the Icons is the loser in that department right there. Now when it comes to the arms moving up, again, G.I. Joe wins. Double jointed elbows, articulated Icons win there, and as well as the wrist articulation since it has that multi-directional ball joint. Now for sword wielding, these two win because of the butterfly joints. It helps them pose the sword up to their chest, where this one doesn't. It has no butterfly joints. Now for ab crunch, G.I. Joe wins again. Moving it back, I say G.I. Joe wins again, but Legends beat Icons in that one as well. And for the diaphragm joint, the G.I. Joe one wins again. But this one has a really good pivot. Unfortunately, the Icons does not have a side-to-side pivot. For the leg splits, Marvel Legends is definitely gonna lose. You can't get a full split with it, whereas you can with the G.I. Joe one and the articulated Icons. And with the leg range, the G.I. Joe wins because of the drop-down thighs. That's something I wish the Marvel Legends Hand Ninja had. So he can kick super far up because he's got those drop down thighs, and you could just get all sorts of range with him. You know, the Hand Ninja kicks up pretty high, but you got this gi right here hindering the articulation a bit. So yeah, you get a high kick right there with the articulated Icons. You know, it almost rivals the G.I. Joe, if anything. And for the double jointed knees, again, the G.I. Joe Cobra Red Ninja wins with almost heel to the butt, basically. Whereas these guys, their heels do not touch the butt. So, yeah, G.I. Joe wins there. And the rest is the same with like the calf swivel, the ankle pivots, and rockers. They're all good on that area. Now for the pricing, when this articulated Icons Basic Ninja was first available through the Kickstarter, it was about 35 bucks. Now these Basic Ninjas are available for $20, but with that $20, they stripped more than half of the accessories that came with the original one. So there are arms pack that they sell because you could swap out the arms and, you know, you can spend more on accessories pack. So it's going to cost you a lot of money for this guy if you want the utmost fun with this. Now for $20 with these guys, what you get is not bad at all. For the Hand Ninja, you got the 2 commas, you got the sword, and the 2 interchangeable hands. Plus, if you're army building and you care about making a Stilt-Man grow and grow and grow, you know, the more you get with these, the more you're gonna have fun with another figure as well. However, the Red Ninja right here for $20, he's just fully loaded with accessories. I mean, the long sword, you got the 2 axe, the 2 commas, another sword, and the 2 sides, and you got storage for all of these weapons, which is amazing. So for the $20 price point, I'm gonna say the G.I. Joe Classified Red Ninja is the winner. And definitely paint and sculpt goes to the Icons Ninja. And overall, out of these 3 ninjas, if I have to pick my personal favorite, I still think the Cobra Red Ninja is the best one to go with. You just get a ton of stuff. If you think this Hand Ninja is a bad figure, no, it is not. It is a good figure. Again, it has its pros and cons, but for the most part, I had so much fun posing this guy around. And on my Instagram, I did a head swap between the Hand Ninja and the Cobra Red Ninja, and I dig it. The paint matches perfectly between the dark red and the light red, as you can see. This doesn't look too bad either, but this one right here just looks so good, and it eliminates, this big collar piece right here eliminates that floating hood issue. It hides it perfectly, so I just feel like it had more potential, you know. It should have been a deluxe figure to really rival the Icons. You know, it would have been nice to have this packed as a deluxe with so many alternate hands, so many alternate weapons, and swappable arms and heads. They could have really made this a top tier Marvel Legends figure. Now for some comparisons, here is our Hand Ninja next to the Amazon exclusive Defenders box set. Also here he is next to Elektra and Typhoid Mary. Now last but not least, the Stilt-Man Build-A-Figure. Another one of those lame D-list Spider-Man characters that I love. Stilt-Man has the lamest power trait ever. I mean, he's just a man on stilts. I don't need to say anymore. Anyways, let's get to it. So this guy measures at about 11.5 inches, making this the biggest Hasbro Build-A-Figure since Fing Fang Foom. And it could get a lot bigger than that, because not only can it be the biggest Build-A-Figure ever, it can be the biggest figure ever. When you look at these legs, they measure about 8 inches where it would plug in onto the upper thigh. But this part disconnects, so technically you would get 6 inches of the leg. So it's awesome that they come with the hand ninja, so you can army build and build Stilt-Man to however tall you want. So with 10 hand ninjas, you'll get more than a 5-foot Stilt-Man. With 20 hand ninjas, you'll get more than a 10-foot Stilt-Man. I'll probably cap at 10, but then I'll get curious to see how tall I can make this guy, so I might end up getting more hand ninjas and just see how crazy this guy will look on my display. I'll probably have him towering over my house. And he does come with a base to make it easy for him to stand, because it is very hard to get him standing without the base. You would have to be really good at balancing him. I did try earlier and it can work. I would just push this ankle up and kind of have him like walking forward. Yeah, as you can see, he's just probably going to keep falling like that. So yeah, it's probably best if you have 1 or 2 feet planted on the stand. The head sculpt came out fantastic, man. It gives me like this Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket kind of vibe, doesn't it? With the antennas you see right there. The silver color, just it looks so freaking good, and the whole figure is just decked out in this nice gunmetal color, so I really like it. Yeah, this helmet came out pretty cool. The one thing I gotta say is with these antennas, just be careful. They are very pliable, so if you move his head up to look up, they're just gonna curve inside the apparatus right here, and if you turn his head to the side as well, you know, that will warp, and you know, you just gotta watch how you move his head, and not just the antennas but his chin also. If you move his head down, you can see that the chin starts to rub on this chest piece, so be careful with that. You can take the apparatus off since it comes with miles, but it just looks too naked like that. The upper torso looks good. I thought it was a reuse of the Night Thrasher body mold, Beetle body mold, but it is not. The arms look good with the pinless elbows. You got the gauntlets right there. You got the belt that's sculpted onto the figure, and you have these like capsules or little booster type of things on the side of his hips. The back of the apparatus looking really cool and clean, and then he's just nothing but legs. Yep. Legs for days, and they are very, very long. So this is one of those rare Build-A-Figures that come with a lot of accessories. So first up, you get the 2 closed-fisted hands. Then you get 2 gripping hands to hold his gun and his briefcase. The gun is a reuse from the Captain Marvel Wave Yonrog, and the briefcase is pretty new. So we'll take a close look at that. So it's a plain looking briefcase with some nice texturing. The handle is plain, and let's open it up because there is something inside. You could just take your fingernails against the lock and just pull that up, and inside you get some bootleg looking money. You can take it off as well, so if you want an empty briefcase, you can. Nothing on the back right here. Now to cover articulation with Stilt-Man, his head moves that far up and it moves that far down. It's really tight right here, so it's hard to get his head to move down. It moves side to side. There's no tilt on the head, but wow, this neck joint is really, really tight. So his arms move that far up. That's good. Down all around. You got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that bend in past the 90-degree mark, and the wrist swivel and the wrist hinge. His ab crunch moves a good chunk forward, but sadly does not move back at all. It's not the apparatus that hinders this. That's just how the body mold is. He's got the waist swivel. His legs move that far apart, and man, that is the longest spread ever. And his legs kick up that far. Wow. This is crazy. His legs kick that far back. That is the longest frontward split ever, man. Look at that. Wow. And you got his legs that rock around. You got a swivel at the upper thigh right here. Unfortunately, there is no bend on these legs. Yeah, that's a bummer. I wish it was kind of bendable, or at least, you know, yeah, it's kind of hard to put a joint here in the middle, because then you would have sacrificed the height that they wanted you to achieve, but I think it could have been doable. You got a lower twist right here at the calf, then you got the ankles right here that move up and down. They swivel, but they do not pivot. But I guess if you want, you could twist this to the side and move that. Now, if you want to keep extending these legs, the way it works is this lower calf part right here. You're just going to pop that off. Pop this leg at the upper thigh right here. Then you can just connect these together. Plug it right where the upper thighs are. And since I don't have two hand ninjas yet, I did just take the two legs that came with my one hand ninja and just connected the two, as if, you know, if I had to, you would get almost a 19-inch Stilt-Man. That is insane. So 2 hand ninjas alone and you already have the biggest Marvel Legends Baf. And these stilts gave me an idea for Machine Man to give him some leg extensions. So if I get an extra, I might pop the feet off and then plug the ankles into the stilts. So that's a pretty fun idea if you want to try that out. Now for some comparisons, here is our biggest Marvel Legends Bafs ever by Hasbro. MCU Giant Man stands at 10 inches, Stilt-Man 12 inches, and Fin Fang Foom 16 inches. Lastly, with this Baf rounding out the wave, here is Stilt-Man next to his fellow wave mates. And now to wrap things up, my final rating for this wave is an 8 out of 10. Will any of these figures make it to my top 10 Legends of 2020? No, but it's still a very solid wave as a whole, despite being skeptical of the wave at first. The comic figures are so good here, and most of the animated movie figures came out better than expected. Normally, I don't like the way animated characters look in plastic, as plenty of times they don't translate well, but I'd say Hasbro did a very good job here. Tons of accessories to go around with a total of 24, which is a great amount. More importantly to note is that majority of these figures have the pinless tech, 5 out of the 7 figures to be exact. Along with that, you get a few figures with double diaphragm joints. These are great indications for Legends moving forward, with adding much more improvements and enhancements to become the norm. So now I kick it back to you guys. Let me know what you think. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. As always, follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Share and subscribe if you are new. See you on the next video. Peace, peace.